Hi friends, so all the backpacking gear is back out, and that is because Barbie and I are going back to Amicalola in the next few days. I thought it was tomorrow, but I'm a day early. And we are gonna go, he never hiked the approach trail. So we are going back to Amicalola, not only to celebrate my 1-year anniversary of starting the trail, but also so that he's going with me, but because I want to do it, but because I want him to hike the approach trail. So we are going to go experience that, and I'm going to take you along for a little re-adventure down the Appalachian Trail, a year to date after I started the trail. So it's going to be a little bit of a walk down memory lane. And I think it's going to be just a little bit emotional because I miss and think about the trail every single day. So let's head to Amicalola. It is mid-afternoon on March 12th of 2024, and we are headed towards Georgia and on our way to Amicalola State Park. We still had a few hours to go before we reached Amicalola, and we weren't quite going to make it there tonight. So we stopped in Hayesville, North Carolina at Angelo's Pizza to grab some food before we headed to our drive-in campsite that I had booked us for the night before we headed to Amicalola the next day. I never usually like getting to a campsite, whether hiking or driving at night, but because we had left so late in the day because I had some things going on, it was somewhat inevitable. We are on our way to Springer, kind of. We're technically on our way to Vogel State Park in Georgia, and then tomorrow we are going to go to Springer, we're going to go to Amicalola, and we are going to hike the approach trail to Springer on my 1-year anniversary of starting the trail. I'm so excited. And then we made it to our home for the night, Vogel State Park in Georgia. Amicalola was about a 5-hour drive from our home, and so staying at Vogel State Park meant we only had another hour to go in the morning. The pizza was really good, and we were so hungry that we ended up stuffing a slice in our mouth before enjoying the rest of it at the picnic table. Campground pizza. After thru-hiking for so many months, it was wild to be setting up such a huge tent. It felt like a palace, and especially because tomorrow night we'd be back in our backpacking tent. Honestly, backpacking or not, it just felt good to be back in the woods again. It felt like home. We're headed to Amicalola! Someone is very hype, and it's too early for that. But we left Vogel State Park this morning, and we're actually going to stop in a little town and grab some deli sandwiches to pack out, and then we are headed to Amicalola, and we are going to do the approach trail. Are we excited, Barbie? Well, he was excited a few minutes ago, but he'll be excited again.
I'm excited.
To the trail we go. As we drove towards Amicalola, we kept seeing signs of the trail. And every time we just got so excited.
It's mountain crossing!
It's mountain crossings, and there's the trail!
I dried my frozen boots here.
Oh my gosh, that feels like so long ago that we were here. And now we're headed back to where it all began. Just like I like to do treats research, I also love to do food research. And I had read that this deli in Dahlonega had great sandwiches. And so Barbie and I were once again deli blazing, but this time in Georgia. I, of course, had also scoped out an adorable coffee shop because I wanted to treat myself to a matcha. The banana bread was delicious. We just stopped for a little treat before we go to Amicalola, and now it's time to go hit the trail. And then before I knew it, we were there, and we were driving under the signs, the entrance signs, to Amicalola Falls State Park. It was somewhat unreal to be back here again a year later. A year ago exactly, I was driving through that gate with my mom, and so nervous and so excited to start this trail. At that time, this visitor center wasn't here, and I was starting the trail alone. So it was wonderful and special to share it this year with Barbie. Since this visitor center wasn't here the last time I was here, I of course had to get a few Appalachian Trail themed things, and we also paid our parking fee so that we could park there for a few nights. And then we had to go spend some time with the Amicalola Arch because Barbie had never been to it, and we had to get a picture, of course. And since we were right there, I finally convinced Barbie that we should go take the little intro Appalachian Trail class. And they let us register as section hikers for 2024. And so not only were we able to take the class, but we were able to get the 2024 yellow trail tag, which just felt so special to be here and do that. I, of course, immediately put it on my pack right on top of and next to my 2023 Appalachian Trail tag, which definitely looked a lot more loved than this one did. We made it to the arch again, and we went through the little class. And even though I probably could have sat and enjoyed being at the arch all day, it was time to head up the trail and follow the blue blazes of the approach trail until we reached Springer. And of course, because I wanted to make Barbie climb all the stairs of the approach trail, the main stairs in the main trail was partially closed, at least up to the falls. So we had to take a little detour and he didn't have to do all the stairs. We are on the approach trail! And the stairs, of course, are closed to the falls for repair. So I still don't get to make that one do the stairs. But it's okay. We're doing it a different one up to the falls. And then he will still have to do the approach trail to Springer. But oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to be back out here on the trail. Even though it's a lot warmer than when I started a year ago. We're sweating. But we're so excited to be out here. And it's so fun to see all the fresh thru hikers. And we did get 2024 trail tags because we're going to be section hikers, because I'm sure we're going to go do different sections of the trail this year. So we thought it was only fitting, and I had to make him go through the presentation. So it's a good day. We're excited to be out here and on the trail again. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice, but I was absolutely ecstatic to be on this trail again and to feel like I was kind of starting this adventure all over again, even if I was only out here for a day. It just brought back so many fond memories of the beginning of the trail and the friends that I met and the emotions that I was feeling when I was here a year ago. This year, it was really special to share it with Barbie since we didn't meet until day 5 of the trail. So this way we got to check off some of that mileage that we didn't technically do together, and hopefully one day we'll be able to check off all of that first 5 days that we didn't hike together. Amicalola Falls was still absolutely beautiful, and these stairs were still just as brutal. I did not miss these. As I remember, and it was so much warmer, so I was so hot and sweaty, but it was still it just felt so amazing to be out there and to see all these people and to feel like a thru hiker again. Just like that first day a year ago, every sign made me so excited, and I just couldn't be more excited that we got the opportunity to be out here again a year later. And I'm pretty sure, just like last year, I took pictures of every single sign that we saw heading up the approach trail. As we hiked the approach trail, we reminisced on friends that we met those first few days on trail and how they impacted the rest of our hike, and how special it was to have met all of these people that meant so much to us on this trail and on this adventure. It never fails to blow my mind, even now, just how this trail brought us all together, and how if we weren't all hiking this trail, we might have never met each other. And there are so many people that I met that I now can't imagine having not in my life. The memories continued to flood my brain as we walked past certain markers, and I loved resharing the stories with Barbie. I talked about how I had wanted to summit Springer that first day I was out there, but ended up starting so late that the friend that I had made, Schmitty, we didn't make it to Springer that night. We made it to the first shelter right before Springer, and it ended up being great. This is the first shelter I stayed in on the trail. This is Black Gap Shelter, the first shelter before Springer. But today, we're going to try and make it to Springer because we started a few hours earlier than I did the day I started. I didn't completely follow in my own footsteps, and since we had started a little bit earlier, we decided to go ahead and push on to Springer, because then it would be a little bit of a new experience for both of us, and I'd get to experience the Springer Mountain Shelter and experience the shelter that I had missed out on last year, but honestly was so grateful that I missed out on. And then we were back at Springer. It was honestly a pretty emotional moment to be back here at this iconic spot. When we got up there, there was a handful of starting thru hikers, and I was just so excited for them because I knew that this was only the beginning, and I knew the journey that they were about to embark on and how life-changing it is. And although I was sad a little bit for me, I was excited for them and the adventure that they were about to experience. We made it to Springer! Again! We know that I couldn't hike to Springer without bringing the celebration treat that I had originally brought to Springer a year ago, and that is part of the reason I received my trail name of Treats. To make the moment even more special, we had hiked up Springer in the shoes that has summited Katahdin with us, and they had now touched both monuments. There were just so many little moments that were making this little 2-day trip adventure so meaningful and so important. Also, I do have to mention that even though I finished my thru-hike like 6 months ago, hiking in Georgia again was humbling. It still kicked my butt. After we had gotten to the shelter and got our tent set up, I had to go leave a little note for the thru-hikers that were starting their adventure. I honestly miss writing in little shelter logs and notes to friends. I'm so glad Barbie had thought to pack out deli sandwiches because these were so good at the end of the day. So if you're looking to deli blaze your first day out of Amicalola, the Corner Kitchen in Dahlonega has some delicious sandwiches. As we were setting up camp for the night, it took my body a few minutes to remember the motions of doing all of this. But soon it just felt like normal, and it felt like I was where I was supposed to be again. And then we had another Appalachian Trail first. We watched the sunset from Springer Mountain, and this was just another special moment on this mini adventure of the Appalachian Trail that I'll absolutely never forget. And so Barbie and I sat there with a few other people, slightly chattering with each other, but also just soaking in this moment and how beautiful of a day it was and how lucky we were to be out here again. I had been feeling a little bit emotional all day, and I definitely was still feeling emotional now. If you've hiked this trail before, whether as a thru hiker or a section hiker, you know it leaves its mark on you, and you know that every time you go back, it feels like you're going home. And that's how it felt for me. And every little moment out here was just so precious and special, and I was just trying to take every single one in. So we got this pad all the way back in like around Harper's Ferry, and then I hiked to Katahdin with us, and we love it because it's a duo pad. But after all those many months, it stings so bad. And also, it has a little issue when we blow it up. The seams popped in the in-between. And also, it has a slow leak. So, if anybody knows of a dual sleeping pad that's good for backpacking, let us know, because we wish this one would have lasted a little bit longer. And also, good morning from a tent. It's so nice to wake up in a tent again. I missed it. And it's not raining, so that's also why I'm really excited to wake up in a tent. Because if it was raining and my stuff was all wet, again, not sure I'd be as excited. But it's a beautiful morning and a beautiful day to be on the AT and the approach trail, at least for a little while. It felt so good to wake up in a tent again and to tap some white blazes, even if just for a second, before we headed back towards Springer and back down the approach trail. It was honestly really, really hard to not walk back north and to not head down this trail again and follow the other thru hikers down this trail for an adventure. We just passed Springer again, and now we're headed back down the approach trail. I feel so grateful that we were able to come spend a little bit of time out here, even though it's honestly hard to not keep going again and to see all these people starting on their journey. But I'm so excited for them, and I'm excited that we got to come out here. It's been really special to come commemorate the experience that we had. And so we're gonna enjoy this 8 miles back down the approach trail to Amicalola and just savor this time on the trail. So you can bet that this won't be our last time on a section of the AT or on a section of any long trail. But for now, back down to Amicalola. And of course, as we made our way back down, I was still taking pictures and videos of all the signs, and I decided that at some point we were going to have to come venture and stay at the Hike Inn at Amicalola because it sounds really cool and it would give me another excuse to be near the white blazes of the Appalachian Trail. The last few miles, I really started dragging my feet, not necessarily because I was tired, but because I didn't really want to leave. But the promise of snacks at the car got me moving and kept me headed towards the top of the falls again. And to make myself feel better about having to leave the trail, I had looked up some delicious treat spots on our drive home so that I could treat myself. We are almost back to the falls. This little mini adventure has almost come to an end, but it's been a nice little trip down memory lane. We've met some really fun people, and it's given us more fond memories of the Appalachian Trail. And then instead of climbing up the stairs, we were walking down them, and I can't say that walking down them is any better than walking up them. We made it back to the falls. Our adventure's coming to an end. I can see the visitor center through the trees. It was good to be back on trail. Until the next adventure. Treats and Barbie are signing off. At least we're on the trail. And then it was time to head home, and as we drove out of Amicalola, I was feeling all kinds of feelings. But then I remembered to cheer myself up that I had planned some treat stops on the way home so that I wouldn't feel so sad about having to leave the trail. At Man's Best Friend Cafe, I enjoyed a matcha with a strawberry cold foam, and not only was the matcha absolutely delicious, but this spot was so cute, and I honestly wish I lived closer. And then we had one more small stop down memory lane, Manrique's. We caught a hitch here back when we were in Hiawassee at Around the Bend, and so Barbie and I had to stop by once again and enjoy this delicious food. And then it was really time to head back home, back to North Carolina, and say goodbye to the Appalachian Trail for now.